In focus now, General Jack Keane, retired four-star general, Fox News senior strategic analyst, and chairman at the Institute for the Study of War. General, thank you for being here today. First of all, I want you to react to some of Trey's reporting there on what would seem to be strategy by Putin. And I have been calling his Russian forces terrorists because they are raining down terror now by hitting these civilian targets.
Well, it's almost like there's two wars taking place, one in the south and one in the north, because they're so different. The one in the south is finally beginning to succeed from a Russian perspective. They've taken Kherson, which is a critical city in the south. They surrounded Mariupol, which is on the east, and their forces are approaching Odessa. They have amphibious landing ships approaching it, likely sending some forces from Kherson in that direction as well. The purpose and the strategy that the Russians are using here is to cut the Ukrainians off from the sea, which is where all of their imports and exports transit, and also to build the land bridge that we've talked about many times to Crimea. That will likely succeed. It will take several more days. The units that are doing this are from the Southern Military District. Many of them are based out of Crimea and in the vicinity of Crimea in Russia. And the fact is that these units have trained together and exercised together for a number of years. And I think it is a contributor to the success that they're enjoying. In the north, operations are largely stalled, as our reporters are reporting. They even tried a third axis to come into Kyiv the last couple of days, and that got stalled as well. So they have real challenges there. A lot of them are logistic challenges, but they're also dealing with the units themselves. He brought units into Belarus that are now conducting the main effort on Kyiv from the eastern part of Russia. Many of them are hodgepodge of units. They've never exercised on large scale together before, and yet they were given the task of the main effort. They're having significant logistics problems, as we have been accurately reporting.
And that's got to be a benefit to Ukraine. Excuse me, General, because I want to get this in here really quickly. That's got to be such a benefit to Ukrainian forces as they wait literally for ammo to show up. I mean, it's taken a while for those materials to move to where the forces are fighting Russia to reach them. Real quickly, let's get to this. Ukraine claims it has killed a top Russian general, the most senior figure to have been killed during the invasion so far. They say it represents a major blow to Russia's operation. The general, just one of more than 9,000 Russian troops Ukraine says it has killed since the invasion began more than a week ago now by a day. You're talking about deficiencies in the fighting force. What does this do, taking off a top general?
Well, it's notable, and he's a leader, and the unit suffers as a result of it, but it's not the degree of significance that they're claiming. There's no general on that battlefield out there that's indispensable. The fact is, what's happening with the organizations are really the issue. The reason why the operation in the north is stalled, Ukrainian resistance is a factor, logistics is the other one, and as those vehicles, we've seen the pictures of them, sit on a road and they're so vulnerable, the Ukrainians certainly are able to take advantage of that, particularly at night when they're able to operate with concealment and with cover. I also believe there's a lot the United States could be doing here. We have covert capability to interdict those convoys. It is risk associated with that, to be sure. You have to look at the cost and benefits of it. But we have developed this capability over a number of years, and it gives us deniability. We can also help covertly to bring in supplies. Right now, what's happening is the Ukrainians have to go to Poland at the border, pick up the supplies, and drive them back. At some point, the Russians are likely going to cut that off. We got to be prepared to conduct aerial resupply and pinpoint airdrops and landing at remote airfields. We can do that covertly. It's a matter of having the will and our willingness to accept the risk.
General,
will we accept the risk is the issue.
I have a lot still to cover with you, and I want to pause you there respectfully because you are the person with all the expertise on the one thing that Zelensky says he wants right now. And you mention anything about airspace, and you get everybody's attention because we have some of the best fighter pilots on the planet, but we cannot engage provocatively, we're being told by the Pentagon. We can't be the first. But what you're talking about is air support where we could play a role. Please go into detail on that.
Well, what I'm saying is we can conduct covert operations to conduct pinpoint airdrops and also to do resupply at remote airfields that don't even have lights. I mean, we have all this capability. Can't get into the details of it, but just generally speaking, we have conducted covert operations before for years. We have the people to do that. We have an intelligence agency that goes to Title 50 to do something like that. The president has to issue a finding, and there's risk associated with it. I'm not suggesting there's not, and it has to be looked at carefully, but it certainly should be on the menu of things that we should be looking at, particularly if we're all in and dead serious about giving the Ukrainians everything they need to help them.
Well, we better be.
And this is a part of that.
I mean, if you're listening to Zelensky, who has one of the best abilities right now, certainly far outreaching Vladimir Putin, who's been at it for years as a president of another nation. I guess you could call him that. He's a dictator. But Zelensky outweighs Putin's ability to communicate. And if you listen to him, he's saying that's the kind of help he needs, that and the intelligence. And so it will be interesting. Everybody's got to be all in. But if we're part of that, General, I know from your own history of leadership, our men and women are more than ready to do that covert work. Real quickly, what is the risk?
Well, the risk is detection and the fact that, well, it looks like we just committed an act of war against the Russians. That's the risk. And our national security team will take the president through those risks and options. My concern with this administration from the outset has been their timidity and the fact that they're somewhat risk averse. And what I'm calling for here is a little bit of imagination and a little bit of spine. And I think we can provide some significant help to the Ukrainians and minimize the risk of going to war with Russia over it.
I just wrote that down. What a four-star general says you need is some imagination and a little bit of spine. You have given us some things to work with, a pep talk and a whole lot of facts and experience, and I'm very grateful every time you're in focus, General. Thank you.
Yeah, great talking to you, Harris, as always.